It is 501, week number 2. Hello, hello, hello. So glad you're here. Let's jump right into it, shall we? So this week, we're looking at TPAC. I guess I was going to say, if this is new to you, let me explain. If it's not new to you, I will also explain. TPAC is an acronym educators love. Acronyms: technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. Sometimes you hear it, it's more of a mouthful when people say um, technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and content knowledge. I also think it's a mouthful when people say, even though this is actually more correct, technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge. I tend to say the incorrect but easier to understand way: technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. But it's three different buckets, triple Venn diagram of how we like organize our knowledge as educators with our students. There's lots of resources that walk you through it. I'm going to let those resources do it because they can pack a lot more information in a short amount of time compared to me. The one thing I will say with this is that in my undergrad and graduate work, there were many, many frameworks, nearly all of which were not helpful. This one, and I'm not just saying it because I'm the instructor or because I have to, which is kind of the same thing. Um, this TPAC is actually it's useful. It's legitimately useful stuff. Um, so if you've used it a bit, hopefully you're going to jump into it more. If you've heard of it, this will be your chance to get into it. And this is brand new. There's other stuff that's in life not as useful. This particularly around meaningful technology integration. This is just it's good stuff. So that's really what we're doing this week. Your discussion board and your assignment are connected directly with this. If we look way, way, way ahead, and then we're gonna come back in just a moment, um, you do want to look ahead and think with these different tools we're using, how they apply to your Google Certified Educator Level 1 certification. If you're using Google Slides or Google Drawings for this week's assignment, it would be worth actually looking way ahead to week 8, looking at what that certification for Level 1 Google Educator is, and seeing kind of what you need to know in drawings or what you need to know in slides. So it's not so much like cram in week 8, take the test in week 8, because if you recall, it's a test through Google Education domain. It's not like a CUI master's thing, because we want it to be like it is nationally recognized as, wow, like you're a solid teacher. Whenever I see that on resume when we're hiring at our school, it's automatically like it's the opposite of a red flag, a green flag, like a like exclamation point, like let's pay attention to this person, let's talk some Google tools. We want this teacher on our faculty. For me, that's like top of the pile every single time. So it's absolutely worth it. It's also one of those where, as you're applying to present at conferences, if you're trying any sort of professional kind of anything, assuming you are since you're getting a master's, right? Having the certification is a decently big deal. So look at look at how it applies to drawings and slides in the Google ecosystem. And then also let's just jump right into what that assignment is. It's TPAC, it's drawing your own TPAC diagram using either Google Slides or Google Drawings. If you've never done Google Drawings, force yourself to do it. If you've done Google Slides and only use the basic templates, that would be a really good choice. I've actually worked with our front office to build out like entire, what's the word? It has been such a long week. Our school opens in like 4 days, and my brain is just not coming up with the right words. A program, like for the winter concert for like back to school night, we actually go into Google Slides and go to File, Page Setup, and do a custom page, because the way that you can actually lay stuff out with text and with different images is really powerful in Google Slides. The only other tool I really recommend with that can compete at the level of web-based tools for just adding stuff to make it look like a program would be Canva for education, which is fantastic. Every day it keeps getting better. But for this assignment, it's going to be Google Slides or Google Drawings. You're going to make your own 3 circles. I don't have 3 hands, but Venn diagram with 3 circles walking through the TPACK framework, right? And you're gonna fill in using comments and do that. You just look at the Google Doc. The other important part of this, make sure you're reading all of the Google Doc that goes with the assignment, is you're gonna make a blog post, adding your image, and then you're gonna explain your TPACK diagram in your image. Right? Sound like a plan? Great. So that is the assignment for this week. You might want to look ahead at next week's assignment. Next week is looking at summative assessment. Eventually, all of this is going to look ahead to a pretty significant lesson plan that you're going to build. So maybe see how all of this fits together. The discussion board is watching 2 videos around TPACK, pretty straightforward ones, and you're just going to share like your expertise or interests in these 3 domains: technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and content knowledge. The last thing I will share is one of our parents who is actually leading the charge with AI across the world, hung out with us for an hour this morning, and it was amazing. He's actually really excited to see what educators do with it. Mentioned in particular Khanmigo. So if you're looking for like a classroom-friendly version of an AI bot, maybe not ChatGPT, maybe not Claude, but actually Khanmigo. That's that one's paid. It's $9 a month. I think there's still a wait list with that. But if you're trying to figure it out, the goal is if we take just a tiny step back, the idea behind this was actually like, what if we had 3 teaching assistants in every classroom? Would you like that? Yeah, I think every educator would. Would you like 3 assistants? Yes, I would. Right, for what? Right, for lesson planning. So maybe like, here's what I'm trying to do. Give me a lesson plan, and then you are, what did he say? It was in, my good friend John Spencer actually just interviewed Sal Khan talking about Khanmigo. And he said, you're the editor-in-chief, is how Sal referred to it. So like, here's the lesson plan. You're the editor-in-chief, so you can take that and really make it your own, make it fit your students, even though you kind of fed that, using it for grading, using it for small groups eventually, once you get all your students set up with Khanmigo, if that's a way your school goes. It's super interesting. Rubric creation, the way that this parent ended up talking with us about it was like, you are the teacher and this AI bot is your student. So you need to teach it how you want it to behave. And the thing that really stuck with me was that it's not about give me a 5-paragraph essay, give me a discussion board post and include 1 reference, right? Actually, the references is where current AI bots will often hallucinate and give you like not a real reference, so never use it for that. But it's less about like give me 250 words for this discussion board prompt. What's actually most interesting and what I learned this morning, I love the verb refinement. It's about inputting something into a chat bot and then refining it until kind of what the more nebulous idea in your head is actually in front of you. That's really the magic and what we were encouraged to look for. It's not just here, done. It's like, that's like dumb use of it. Or like, that would be a dumb assignment, I think, because schools have lots of assignments that are a waste of time. And I think this technology is going to spotlight which assignments are a waste of time and which ones are actually useful. So it's less about like, how do we AI-proof assignments, and it's more like, how can we use these resources to help us refine our thoughts, our ideas, our products? And I just did that actually. It was very meta. I wrote a fairly lengthy email to all of our employees, and I don't do that often, monthly at most. So for me, it's a big deal. I want it to be enough information, not too much information, right? That just right Goldilocks moment, but also be like interesting, compelling, easy to skim, and just kind of happy, right? So it's like, here's a whole bunch of notes I have. Here's 5 examples of emails I've written, read an email for me and got it, and just like, oof, not good. Change this, this, and this. All right, next revision. And just as I continued, I went through maybe like 10 revisions with ChatGPT this afternoon. And on that 10th one, I had the intro I wanted, because I was like, actually connect it with a fellowship that I helped run with about a dozen educators over the summer, and we're the ones that actually created a list of things to consider. Connected to our core values, here's our core values, make that more obvious. The closing paragraph, take this from my boss that was like, as a school, here's what we're believing. Just really trying to make it feel like my own style, but also, like, our school starts in like 4 days. I don't have time to spend 3 hours writing an email, which is what it would have taken on my own. And in about probably 15 minutes, right? It was not an automatic thing. In about 15 minutes, I got something where I was just like, this is good. This is a really good email. It's organized in a way that once I see it is really obvious, but that first draft that I put into it wasn't even close to it. So being able to refine ideas and then using it with students to be able to refine their ideas was incredibly, incredibly interesting. So that is my thoughts on that for you. Very last thing, Media Literacy Week is coming up. I'm going to share more as we get to it. If you're looking for something to do in mid-October with students, just Google Media Literacy Week, namely the National Association of Media Literacy Education puts this on with a number of alliance members. It's really good stuff. So anyway, you'll hear more about that later, but wanted to share that with you today. And that is all for week 2, everybody.